Welcome back to this Let's Play of The Last Remnant. We've been doing some random side quests, and this episode's random side quest is the War of 1,000 Years, and more or less it's just you go to the castle, they give you a quest, and you get to fight a lot of things. You know, to a certain extent I like it, because they don't bother with, you know, contrived reasons and, you know, long stories that don't make sense. It's just, here, fight these guys. Alright, well, that's easy enough to understand. And the way this fight works, there are essentially two columns of enemies on each side, well, one on each side, and then a dragon down at the far end there. And so the fight essentially takes two phases. There's just sort of the clear up the random enemy phase and the fight the dragon phase. In some ways it's similar to the Nest of Eagles fight, and you can use the same kind of tactic for the, you know, getting rid of the trashy little enemies by just, you know, Gaulging them into oblivion. But I'm going to actually fight them just for the sake of practicing our nice little combat skills. And the enemies here are not super easy. You can actually lose in just to the random enemy part of this if you're not careful. I have enough people with Vivification Herb that it's sort of, they would really have to take advantage of a weakness to get through. But there are quite a few of them. I've turned on the absolute turbo version just because, well, it's just kind of annoying to try and fight these things without and just, you know, waiting. So, well, I guess I'll let those guys stay in the fight. But we're starting to make progress on these weaker guys, so... Though weaker is not sort of a relative thing, they are, in fact, quite a bit harder than a lot of the just random enemies we've been running into, so... Now, what you'll see, a lot of these say, can't target too far away. Well, sometimes you'll run into that situation in this fight where you are more or less stuck with just sort of attacking with what the game will let you attack. And it's sort of annoying because, well, sometimes you don't want them to go after the guy on the far... You want them to sort of make their way towards the guy on the far side, yeah, even though he's, you know, there are enemies in front of you. Just die already. This bird is surviving things that, well, they really should have died for the last 3 guys, probably, but, oh well. I don't know that silencing it actually does anything. I think they're actually immune to that. Well, they just don't have any attacks that are silenceable. The music changes sometimes based on sort of how the game thinks the fight is going. I have to remember to keep that last group kind of out of the fight. I mean, I guess I could just leave them in the fight, but I'd rather not. We're running out of enemies. It looks like it's just one bird and one dragon. And I'm going to focus on finishing off the bird first. Because the dragon can multi-deadlock, so... And I'm sure the dragon will manage to jump on one of my groups this turn, so I'm just going to have to enjoy it and deal with it. If you choose the recover your health option and your union is at full health, they will actually try and heal another union. Oh, good. Rush's union got botched. Oh well. Easy enough to fix. And, well, this guy is not as hard as the dragon I was fighting before when I was recruiting Maddox. It has, I mean, essentially I don't have the advantage of having a superpowered guest union to work with. So I am going to have to be a little more conservative. You can actually see this guy's hit points. I don't know if that means he doesn't qualify as a real boss, but he's hard enough. As you can see, I think he has like 70,000 hit points or something like that. Changing your battle rank does not actually change your the number of hit points an enemy has. It just changes the attacks they use, and I think it also changes the rate at which they gain AP. So, and this dragon, like the other one, will, if he has enough AP, use an end-of-turn attack like a breath weapon. Oh, you guys were supposed to, no, I guess we got more people buying than we can vivification. So, oh well. Here's his breath attack, and, well, it only took out one union, which was going to have to be fixed anyways. So I'm going to keep Rush's union in the fight, and everybody else is just going to be on healing duty. They'll rejoin the fight if they don't have anything better to do. I guess I've been turning off a lot of the people who have both vivification herb and other herb-based healing, with the hope that essentially they will let somebody else do it. More or less, all I want out of the herb people at this, for the long term, is for them to learn vivification herb. But if they've already got it, then I'm going to leave it at the herbs, the healing to someone else. But maybe I'm being a little too aggressive on it. I am using, for a couple of my party members here, the option to attack from a distance, which I can do with the basic hexes, and I can also do with the basic evocations. Like, here Caedmon is doing it with, and mostly I'm doing that from the standpoint of I am a little bit concerned about the Vulcan breath, and I don't want to have my entire party engaged in time just so that I don't, end up with a total. Because, sometimes he'll just get lucky and kill me. And I guess Rush's group is sufficiently injured that we're probably just going to have them break loose. out so well. If a union that multi-deadlocks kills a union, the next one that engages it doesn't get an attack against, it's, I guess, something you might be able to abuse in certain situations against really powerful enemies, but it's... since it requires your unions to die, it's really not an A+ strategy. I should probably split Glenys and Emmy out of the same group, since both of them have the superpower healing spell, and having both of them in the same group is really kind of, you know, overkill. Unfortunately, now that our morale is so low, any attack, I think, is probably going to be enough to kill half a union. So we're just going to have to throw vivification at it or herbs at it until it dies. Or get lucky with some dodges. I think we're actually, you know, making some progress here. I am going to have Baulson's group split out. Well, too late. Now, some of these guys were using the option attack from the sides, which essentially guarantees that we get flanking attacks, even though we don't have enough people involved to keep it as a sort of normal flanking attack. Unfortunately, we are kind of in danger zone, so... keeping one unit deadlocked just to make sure he doesn't, you know, just sort of randomly wander around. And because having him, if he engages somebody while we are essentially busy, not engaged, morale will go down. And so I do want to try and keep morale up a little bit, since it does... Now, how annoying he heals himself. I forgot about that. And I'm just gonna have them. Nope, too slow. I'm having a couple of my groups, again, do the attack from a distance shtick, just because, well, it's safer that way. And against enemies that multi-deadlock, there's really not much much value to trying to surround them, unless you're actually going to surround them from all sides. And since I'm not doing all-out attacks, it's better. We're better off just having some people do the attack from a distance thing. Though, really, we're not doing much more than practicing skills. The lack of a real tanking union does make this fight a lot harder than the other fight I was doing against the dragon. The big sort of grinding option is going to be also against a very similar sort of enemy, which is kind of a pain, but as you can see, they're definitely a good opportunity to practice your healing skills. I just hope I don't run out. Let's see how many people die. Wow, no one died. Alright. Well, these guys don't have the option to disengage, so... Oh, hey. Blocter invented a new skill. I actually don't have all the materials required for Gaou to be using all of his lotions, which is probably an oversight on my part. But that's okay. We will survive. Or we won't, and I'll just restart the fight. You know, it's a game. If we die, it's not a big deal. I'm guessing that Caedmon will get vivification after this fight, though. Because he's been using a lot of that basic herb. Healing herb sounds like medicinal marijuana or something. I guess it's restorative herb. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I buy the whole medicinal thing, but hey, you know. A lot of this is just sort of tag teaming in and out of the fight based on who has hit points this turn and who doesn't. And I just hope he doesn't heal again, because that would be really obnoxious. I think he can only do that once. Otherwise I'm going to get very good practice out of this fight, and probably run out of herbs. Okay. And I'm not getting the attack from afar option, which sort of annoys me, but that's the way it is, so... Well, that's really the challenge of this game, is that you don't get to choose. I mean, if you could actually choose what every one of your unions did, I don't know that the game would be a lot harder, I mean a lot easier, but it would certainly be easier. And how many people die? 2 units. I'm sort of reticent to give up the whole strike from the sides option, but honestly, survival is more important than keeping up that. Though I guess we managed to avoid the attack for this turn. And I'm gonna have Rush's group still stay out because they're still quite beat up. Ooh, hey. Those shield bash options only show up if you actually have a shield, and it's a counterattack that actually does damage. Most of the other counterattacks just stun the enemy, which I don't even know if that would work against the boss. Alright, I think this is probably going to be it, so all-out attack this turn. Well, I'll have that group stay back. Maybe not. Maybe it'll live one last turn. I always seem to be so bad about predicting the last turn on things. I always call last turn when it doesn't die. Ah. One for Rush.
Sweet! Yeah!
And I don't know why he keeps learning the arcane skills when I have them all disabled.
Guess I'm not senile quite
There's
yet.
still plenty of power left in these thick bars. What a glorious day!
I'm becoming stronger.
Yeah, Caedmon learned Vivification Herb.
I've gotten a little stronger.
I feel stronger than I did before. I hope this will make me more useful.
Yeah, okay. No, it won't, Rhagoh. Rhagoh. Okay, and they pay you 20,000 gold. And, you know, that'll at least pay for all the herbs I used. But that's it for this episode.